Why did Weber Shandwick decide to conduct this research initiative?
We wanted to understand better the dynamics that are going on between the communicators and the lawyers within the C-suite during a time of crisis. It's clear that any CEO has to carefully weigh the legal risks and the reputation risks when responding to a negative event. And we really wanted to understand better the relationship between lawyers and communicators in those situations.
What surprised you most about the findings?
How the relationship between lawyers and communicators has evolved. In fact, one of the lawyers said that the legal radar now extends beyond liability. So we've come to understand each other's perspectives and points of view, and the need to calibrate how much to communicate without communicating so much that you potentially incur liability. And so I think there's greater understanding. And the relationship has evolved much further than I had suspected before we undertook the survey.
One key finding is that companies need to create a culture of preparedness. How would you define this culture?
Well, I think what we found out in the survey is that one of the lawyers explained that no matter how much we prepare against specific events, it's never enough. I think a culture of preparedness, by contrast, is a culture of readiness. It's where you've got an organization that understands the need to anticipate and to be agile in its ability to respond and in its ability to address issues before they become crisis. And we have found out by working with a lot of companies and their front lines, that especially in supply chains, et cetera, that you need to really train those folks who are in the front lines to understand what could turn into a crisis, and more importantly, to know when to call home.
How important is digital and social media in managing a crisis?
Essential. I think as we see from the survey, there is no respondent who doesn't understand the need right now to be ready not only to monitor and make sure that you understand when a crisis is broken in social media, but to use social media to drive your response. As well as to understand how to influence the environment out there through key bloggers, et cetera, et cetera. So it's as integral a part of any crisis response now and any crisis preparedness as any other vehicle.
Do you think companies are doing a good job on this front?
Not all companies, and certainly lessons are being learned along the way. But I think that it's more prevalent that we found out through these interviews that both the lawyers and the communicators understand the need to really work together in addressing these new dynamics.